Good morning to everyone. I thank God, the school authorities, senior members and junior members of the University of Education, Winneba, for the opportunity given me to take us through opening prayer. Please, with respect and all humility, I will plead for us to all rise up as we take our opening prayer. Father, Lord God Almighty, we thank you for all the lives and everybody here. Father, Lord, thank you for making last year's Ghana National History Day a success. We gather to celebrate Ghana's rich history and heritage again. Bless this occasion with peace, joy, and unity. May we learn from the past, appreciate our culture, and work towards a brighter future for all Ghanaians. Grant us wisdom, understanding, and a sense of purpose as we implore our history. Let your glory to be revealed in today's program. Bless you, EW, and all participants. In Jesus' mighty name we've prayed. Amen.
Thank you, Nafsli, for this. So a program of such nature demands a host of a magnitude importance. And we would invite the host for this program, who is the Dean of the Faculty of Education, Professor Ansam Abochi, to give us his welcoming address.
Thank you very much. The Pro-Vice Chancellor, heads of departments, distinguished guest speakers, our respected traditional authorities, staff and students, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a profound honor to welcome you all to the 2026 celebration of the Ghana National History Day. As the Dean of the Faculty of Social Science Education, I am particularly proud that the Department of History Education continues to spearhead this vital intellectual tradition. Today, we gather not just to recite dates and names from the past, but to engage with the very soul of our nation. Our theme this year, Memory, History, and Heritage for National Unity and Development, is both timely and transformative. In an era of rapid globalization, we must ask ourselves, what anchors us? Memory, as individual and collective memories, are the raw materials of our identity. By preserving the stories of our elders and the lived experiences of our diverse ethnic groups, we ensure that the Ghanaian spirit remains intact. History is the analytical lens that helps us understand our successes and our scares. It is through honest historical inquiry that we find the blueprint for the more resilient future. Our tangible and intangible heritage is a resource for development. National unity is not the absence of diversity, it is the presence of shared narrative. When we study our history, we realize that the threads of our various cultures have been woven together over centuries of trade, migration, and shared struggle. Today, we gather not merely to remember the past, but to understand it, preserve it, and use it as a compass for our future. Memory gives us identity, history gives us lessons, heritage gives us pride, and together they give us direction. As we reflect on the journey of our beloved nation, from the struggles that led to the independence, under the leadership of the successful Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, to the continued strengthening of our democratic institutions, we are reminded that national development does not begin with the resources, it begins with consciousness. A nation that understands its history, understands its strength. Development is impossible in a divided house. By honoring our heritage, we create the social cohesion necessary to build the infrastructure, schools, and hospitals our people deserve. Our forts and castles along the coast, our festivals, our languages, our music, and our oral traditions are not relics of the past. They are living treasures. They teach resilience, unity, innovation, and courage. They remind us that development is not only about infrastructure and technology, but also about values, culture, and shared purpose. To our students, do not view history as a dead subject. It is a living, breathing discipline. You are the custodians of the 21st century Ghanaian narrative. Use the skills of critical thinking and empathy gained in this faculty to bridge gaps and propose solutions for national progress. I wish to commend the Department of History Education for its tireless efforts in organizing this event. I also thank our guests for joining us in this celebration of our roots. On behalf of the entire staff of the Faculty of Social Education, I formally welcome you to the University of Education, Winneba, and to the Ghana National History Day 2026 celebration. May our reflections today inspire a more united and prosperous Ghana. Thank you, and God bless our own Ghana.
You can do it better for the Dean. Thank you very much, Professor Komra Ansemabochi, Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences Education, for welcoming us. For such an important occasion, we need an equally dignified personality to chair the function. At this point, I would invite Ms. Erica Ayele Teko to introduce the chairperson for the occasion.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very honored to be given this opportunity to introduce the chairman for this special occasion. Professor Kwabena Akran-Parry, a poet, dramatist, novelist, and social critic, is a globally distinguished full professor of African history, heritage studies, and world history. He is a faculty member of the Department of History Education, University of Education, Winneba, Ghana. Although his numerous publications are difficult to be categorized, he is better known for his stellar contributions to the study of colonial rule, abolition of domestic slavery in Ghana and Africa, and best acknowledged worldwide as the first historian to pinpoint that Africans aimed to abolish domestic slavery long before colonial rule. In this regard, abolition in Africa should not be credited to agents of European colonialism and Christianity in Africa. Indeed, the eminent African historian, Prof. Tonye Falola, has described Prof. Akran-Parry as one of Ghana's finest, most productive, fearless, and outspoken historian, and the sage of African ethnomusicology. The late emeritus, Professor J.H. Kwabena Nketia, had this to say about Prof. Akran-Parry. I quote, "He is a gifted writer with foresight mind." His educational background. Professor Akran-Parry holds a PhD in African history and comparative slavery, as well as a postgraduate diploma in contemporary African history from York University, Toronto, Canada. His PhD dissertation was nominated for the York University President's Award for its theoretical erudition and pioneering empiricism in the use of African sources. His professional work. Professor Akran-Parry has over 25 years of university-level teaching, research, and administrative experiences across the United States, Canada, and Ghana. He has taught at several universities, namely the Tulane University, New Orleans, USA, York University, Toronto, Canada, Schippenberg University, Pennsylvania, USA, University of Cape Coast, Ghana, the University of Communication and Business, Accra, Ghana, and the University of Ghana, Legon, Ghana, where he spent 7 years before joining UEW in the 2024-2025 academic year. His publications and conferences. Professor Akran Pari has a total of 4 books to his credit, with 2 forthcoming ones. He has published about 100 peer-reviewed articles in top-notch Africanist journals and anthologies, edited by some of the eminent historians of our time. His works with professional associations. Professor Akran Pari has worked with several editorial and advisory boards of prestigious academic journals and publishers. They include the Journal of African History, University of Cambridge, African Studies Review, University of Massachusetts, International Journal of African Historical Studies, Boston University, African Economic History and History in Africa, both at the University of Wisconsin, Madison, Africa Zamini in Dakar, Senegal, and the University of Rochester Press, Rochester, New York, Carolina Academic Press, Durham, North Carolina, and Sankofa, the University of Legon, the University of Ghana, Legon, Ghana. His extracurricular activities. He writes poetry and is an avid urban farmer. Thank you. The audience, your chair. The chair, your audience. Thank you.
We will invite the chairperson to give his response.
When you get your student to introduce you, it means that they have done a good job because they know you very well. Thank you, Erica, for the nice introduction. Professor Stephen Jobson Mitchell, Mr. Edmond Mukala, UNESCO Country Director, Professor Ernest Anselm Abuchi, Dean, Faculty of Social Science Education, Professor Osman Damba, the Executive Secretary, UNESCO, and Professor Anita Edubuahini, the Head of Department of History Education, student, staff, and Nananum invited guests, faculty, and students, the media, ladies and gentlemen. I happily accept the duty of a chairperson for this auspicious or important occasion and declare all proceedings formally open, and with the hope that whatever we do here will bear fruit in the long term. This is the 2026 National History Day. The topic is entitled Memory, History, Heritage, and National Unity for Development. As the chairperson, please allow me to use my opening remarks to unpack or break down some of the concepts or simply the ideas that are key aspects of today's topic and gathering. I do so without sounding overly academic, theoretical and philosophical, and engaging in contestation, because these concepts have been defined differently by different scholars across time and space. I've taken note of the diverse audience, especially our pre-tertiary students among us who are the conveyor belt for this particular event, in the sense that they will carry the discussions today. They will put the discussions today in their memory bank for future development. So first, what I want to do is to look at what is memory. Memory is about cognition or the mind's ability to store what happened in the past and use it in the present. It is about how our ancestors, it is about what our ancestors left behind for us to use to shape the present and also to determine the future. According to the Ghanaian philosopher, Professor Kwesi Redu, and I quote, "That which is not a part of memory does not exist, and it becomes useless." Another Ghanaian philosopher, Professor Kwame Jechi, also noted that, and again I quote, "Memory is transmitted or acquired, it is learned, it is unlearned. Memory may be universal but has different moving locations." And by this, what it means is that memory can be distorted, it can be embellished, or it can also be invented, and may differ from place to place, differ from generation to generation for different purposes. For their part, two notable African scholars, Toyin Falola and Achiris Mbebe, in their respective ways, note that the essential part of memory is that it is agentic, or an incubator, or a conduit, or a vessel. And what this means is that through memory, history and heritage are molded, fashioned, and used for the benefit of societies. Finally, I would want to settle on Kwame Nkrumah during his African Union speech during the inaugural opening of the Institute of African Studies at the University of Ghana in 1963. Looking at the importance of memory, history, and heritage regarding slavery and colonialism, Nkrumah called for new African-centered perspectives to end mental slavery, to restore African pride, and to promote Pan-African unity, and to develop Africa. Now, what is history? And I think what I will do here is to give a very basic definition, which everyone here will understand. History is simply a study of the past based on different sources put together from memory. And history is used to benefit the present in order to define or forecast the future. The third concept which informs our meeting today is heritage, and I must admit that heritage is a contested field. In other words, several scholars have defined it differently, and even UNESCO has its own definition, which has also been contested by other scholars. But heritage, in its simplest meaning, refers to anything that is inherited or exists for the benefit of a person, a family, community, or a state or a nation, and then also for the globe or for the rest of the world. And here, I think I'll go back to another Ghanaian scholar, the late Professor J.H. Kwabena Nketia, the world-renowned musicologist. And here I am quoting, heritage refers to the historical memory, natural resources, social and political institutions, economic activities that our ancestors left behind for generations to come to learn from and use in their daily lives, and also to predict the future. Now, there are several types of heritage, or as some people call it, heritages. And for our purposes, I have singled out three types of heritage, or try to define three types of heritage. The first one is built or tangible heritage. This refers to historical sites such as buildings, monuments, museum objects, archaeological artifacts, and archival materials. And then the second one may be natural heritage, and this is simply gifts from nature, what nature has given us, has endowed us, and this include water bodies, landscapes, wildlife, forests, caves, etc., etc. And then the last one that I believe is suitable for the purposes or the goal that we have set for ourselves is cultural heritage. And examples would include our national anthem, for instance, drum message, from message, music, dance, anansi-sem, oral history, oral traditions, festivals, different types of knowledge that has been passed on to the next generation. Now, there are several of them, as I said. We have even settled on digital heritage because of social media and then the growth of the internet. In my forthcoming book titled African Heritage in the Era of Globalization, I have asked scholars of heritage studies, ethnic studies, museum studies, and public history and transnational studies to begin to consider what I have called sovereign heritage and ontological heritage. And I believe that UNESCO can also benefit from this unpacking or this theorization of what I mean by heritage. Now, what these two concepts simply mean is what sociologists call cultural relativism. And that is a state of mind that recognizes, accepts, and then tolerates different cultures around the world. In other words, the binary of superiority and inferiority is relegated or is removed from any social interaction. We see people for what they are. We identify cultures for what that particular culture does for the environment. I hope that, or let me quickly add that UNESCO has variously defined heritage based on its universal principles, and we hope that the distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Edmond Mukala's address will touch on aspects of heritage. So in sum, memory, history, and heritage, if properly made inclusive and managed, are assets for nation building. In the Ghanaian context, national unity would be promoted by using memory with intellectual integrity. Thus, this is an invitation to use memory as a resource for reconciliation, to employ history as a humane tool for justice, and use heritage as a foundation for sustainable national development. Our distinguished audience, the topic for us today is memory, history, heritage for national unity and development, and I hope that everything goes on well as planned. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Kwabena Akwampare, for your acceptance speech. I'll be inviting the university students to do a performance. I think it's a drama. But before I do that, I would quickly like to introduce some important personalities in our midst this morning. We have Professor Lucy Ife Atom, Dean, Faculty of Labor and Social Studies. Prof, can you give us a wave? We have Mr. Eric Sechi Nketia, former HOD History Department. Dr. Latifa Apieje, Department of Theatre. Professor Ishmael Yaldasin, Vice Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences Education. Professor Shelley Dankwa, Acting HOD, Center for African Studies. Ms. Barbara Anwakukisi from the Department of Social Studies Education. Mr. Seth A. Tampoli, Faculty Officer, Faculty of Social Sciences Education. Mr. Isaac Indom, Department of History Education, Lecturer. Dr. Frank Afari, Department of History Education, Lecturer. Mr. Stephen Van Kamasa, Deputy Registrar and representing the Registrar of the University of Education, Winneba. Now I invite students from the Department of History Education to give us a performance titled The Lands of Our Ancestors, the Formation and Struggle of the Aborigines Rights Protection Society, 1849 to 1898. As they prepare to come, I forgot to introduce one very important personality with us, Mr. JBK Nsefo, Rep of the Director of Education, Efutu Municipality.
In the closing years of the 19th century, Gold Coast stood at a dangerous crossroad. In 1894, the British colonial authorities introduced a law, a land bill that saw to a place so-called wasteland, forests and minerals under Crown control. Though presented as orderly governance, the bill threatened the very foundations of African societies. Customary land ownership held by families, clans, tools, and protected by generations yet unborn. What followed was not silence, but resistance. From newspapers, from town squares, to distant landed offices. The land itself seems to cry out loud. And the people, with one voice, answered through the Aborigines Rights Protection Society. This play is entitled The Land of Our Ancestors, the Struggle and Formation of the Aborigines Rights Protection Society.
You are welcome, Governor Griffith.
Thank you very much. We are going to pass a land bill, and this draft law places all unoccupied lands under the control of our crown. It shall ensure proper management of forests and minerals for the progress of our administration.
Unoccupied? Governor, how can land owned by clans, ancestors, and stools for centuries be called wasteland?
Never! Order! Never! Order! Peter Johnson, you and your people, listen to me very well. This is administrative necessity, and whether you like it or not, we are going to pass this law. Sit down! Tell him, some of your people, tell them, I said, we are going to pass this law.
I know what to do. I know what to do. I shall see to it that this is being published in the matter this time for every individual, for every household to know the danger knocking at the door. Let's go.
See to it that you publish it, because we will not set ideal and watch a foreigner to take our land from us.
Achiame, Nana, can you ask my people the reason for today's gathering?
Yo, my man, I'm not man to say, then I don't want to marry you.
Yo, minianum, radio yesempa.
Ah, yesempa yo.
Nana, Nyankwada, my king and people, I would want to bring to your notice that the white men want to forcefully use dubious means to take over our own land. As we speak now, the colonial governor has introduced a bill which is to entrust our own land into the hands of the British Crown. They refer to our own land as wasteland.
Wasteland?
Wasteland. And we all know that wasteland does not exist in our lexicon. Of course. Exactly. This bill robs family of our ancestral heritage. I've already published them in my newspapers. Have a look. Everyone, have a look.
Can you imagine? Imagine the audacity. Hey,
what is this? What is the rule of this? No, my people, no. I want let this white to use dubious means to take over our land, not other one just again. If they want violence, they are in for it. Enough is enough. My people shall surrender the land. That's what they trusted to us. But our forefathers to this white. What said my people? Achiame, go for it. Go to Axim, go to Apollonia, and go to Fati. Summon all the chiefs and let our voice tender as one.
Yeah,
This would happen. Not another watch as a king. Never. My friend, let's go.
Hey. 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 Assemble body. After heavy criticism, the 1894 bill was withdrawn. But in 1897, a new draft emerged, gentler in tone, but yet still threatening to reduce owners to mere settlers. Media Milko, Mesama Bebio.
was sending over your cat, yes, and be chilly. One cast and punch ready, I ain't asking. Or bad abbey.
You know, I'm saying,
How you sit?
you are welcome, Governor Maxwell.
Thank you very much. I know you have resisted vehemently against the law which was passed on by my predecessor. Upon further considerations, I have therefore decided to pass a new law. This law is totally different from the previous one, and this law does not seize ownership. But government will only administer such lands as public lands. Tell your people, those who are desiring for full ownership of lands may apply for land certificate.
Governor, every grain of earth in this land has an owner. It either belongs to a stool, clan, or family. What you call wasteland does not exist in our custom.
It doesn't exist in our
Mr.
country.
Mr. Mensah Saba, your opinions are noted, but not binded.
You know,
This is exactly what the previous governor said.
Exactly what the previous governor said. There is no way we are going to agree.
We cannot sit.
You're not going to
And want a foreigner to take our land from us. It will never happen.
It can never happen.
It seems they are playing with fire.
For the past weeks, we have witnessed scattered protests all over our neighboring towns. These scattered protests are no longer enough to address our concerns.
Yes, I agree with you. We must speak with one voice for chiefs, families, and unborn generations. And paying for say, prior way, oye bakwa ebu. Now so say okaboma into me Buddha. Mrs. Say also yako benkro, near did you maybe a din kabombe by them. We can even form an association, as there is a saying, together we stand, divided we fall. What do you also suggest?
What I think we need to do is we need to form a group that will spearhead for the call of the abolition of the land bill. I suggest we name the group as the Aborigines Right Protection Society. And our mission is to study the society and protect the society and protect the citizen or the people as whole. What do you think, Nana?
Well said, Mr. Saba. Whom do you suggest to spearhead this society?
I propose TWC as president and JP Brown as vice president.
I think the formation of this group will bring unity among us and political structure, which will help us to protect our land from these foreigners.
Well said, Mr. Saba. Then, TWC and JP Brown, you have my full support. Meaning there, not Adama watch a second. Then we need to swear an oath to protect this land bill. The ARPS must not live for only today, but for generations.
Agreed. Agreed.
I'm Masayaba. A group of elites and chiefs sat in Gold Coast and formed the Aborigines Right Protection Society. They the society to mainly resist the law introduced by the governor. They have agreed to send their delegation to the white man's land and present their petition to the Queen. Let's watch out.
Hey! From where for Papa? Monsieur, I come
Yeah, but send yes, my
Hey! I won't Brony Chromo. Come on. Hey! Good day, sir.
You're welcome. Have a seat.
Thank you.
How may I help you?
Thank you, sir. We are representatives of the ARPS, that's the Aboriginal Rights Protection Society, and also people from Gold Coast. We are here to oppose 3 fatal flaws proposed by your governor. And these flaws are: 1, that any unoccupied lands does not belong to anybody. Secondly, commissioners appointed by your governor hold unchecked power. Third, that anyone who obtains a land should take it under the English law and not our native law. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Your petition has been well received. Where Gold Coast people are concerned, customary law should be applied. Your arguments are weighty. I have withdrawn the bill.
Thank you so much,
sir.
Sir, on behalf of the people of Gold Coast, we appreciate your efforts for withdrawing the bill. Thank you once again.
You're welcome.
Achiame. Isamin kufuya kwanzu.
Jominianum, the same power.
Yes,
Yo, wait your Ochiame, Mr. Mekasakakra. We went to the white man's land, and when we got there, we were received by the Secretary of State. We formally presented our petition to him. Upon further deliberations, the Secretary of State decided to withdraw the bill. My people, the bill has been withdrawn.
Obruma
Kaye, Osre, ni abwa. Adai.
No one is saying amen.
Many Japan. The kind TWC, who delegates, Madam say. Kenya, Madam of free, come a fire and say, it's never going to happen. It's an Emmanuel, no, I never say, say, but the ARPS must not live for one battle, but for generations.
Exactly. Let our unborn generation say that when the lamb cried, our fathers answered.
Well said, I be Solomon. Now me come say, now watch now. Metro Proke say, I want you. Mumbo and Bebury na. Naminana, me be sure you be. Mumbo and Bebury na, me sure you be. This calls for a mass celebration.
Yeah, whatever, one.
And I put Johnny Moore, and I put Johnny
Moore.
Thus, against all odds, Africans defeated imperial policy on our ancestral lands. The Aborigines Right Protection Society became the first mass protest movement of Gold Coast, a union of chiefs, merchants, intellectuals, and ordinary people. It proved that the land was not merely soil, but memory, identity, and soul. And when that soul was threatened, the people stood together, spoke, and prevailed. My name is Alice Anochi, the narrator.
I am called Efria Benedicta. I acted as JW the Graf Johnson.
Elizabeth Beidu, I played the role as TWC.
Sabenis, I acted the role of Chamberlain.
Adubire Jennifer, I acted as the chief protester.
Janice Dela, I acted as the colonial secretary.
Mohammed Wise, I acted as a linguist and also the lawyer.
Watson Bismarck, I acted the role of the wise chief Abraham.
Osman Reda, the governor, Governor Maswell and Ghana.
Thank you.
I think they deserve another round of applause. Thank you very much, students from the Department of History Education, for this splendid performance. This is a 3-hour lecture compressed into about 15 minutes performance. And this is really very interesting and very educating. This is about the 11th year we are celebrating Ghana through the Ghana National History Day celebrations, and each time we live here well informed and very educated. Thank you very much. I'm going to invite Dr. Frank Afari to introduce the special guest of honor. But before he comes up, I'd like to introduce some very important personalities here with us as well. Professor Samuel Esedu Ado from the Department of Mass Education and the former Dean of the School of Graduate Studies. Mr. Carl Ampa, the Head of Culture, UNESCO. We have Mr. Moses Saki, Assistant Registrar with the Audit Unit. Thank you. Frank.
Right, thank you, Akesi. So the guest of honor for this program is an accomplished scholar and one of the principal officers of this university. She is currently a professor at the Department of Geography of the University of Education, Winneba. Her education includes a BA in Geography and Resource Development from the University of Ghana, a postgraduate diploma teaching and learning in higher education from the University of Education, Winneba, an MPhil in social change, Norwegian University of Science and Technology, NTNU, and then a PhD in social and economic geography from KU Leuven, a very prominent European university famous for producing Jan van Sina, who is a prominent name in African history. And for those in 1100, one of your foundational texts is that book or that excerpt from Jan van Sina's work, Oral History, from which I am going to set a question in the forthcoming exams. Okay. But this is not about Jan van Sina. This is still about a figure who has considerable experience in teaching, having taught for over 15 years and has worked with a number of NGOs within and outside Ghana. Her research includes areas like urban geography, urban housing, particularly housing options for the urban poor, human environment interactions, gender and development. And she's also the Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, and has held a number of positions in this university, including former Director of Research, Innovation and Development, DRIT. She has been HOD, Vice Dean, Deputy Director, and an exams officer. She has also served on a number of committees and boards in and outside the university, has authored or co-authored over 50 publications, including books, book chapters, and journal articles, and has attended and presented papers at conferences, co-organized a number of international and local conferences and seminars, and has also co-won and worked on a number of research grants from reputable organizations. She's a member of the Ghana Geographers Association. She's also a member of the University Teachers Association of Ghana and American Association of Geographers. She's married with 3 girls. This is a figure we honor and respect, and it is my pleasure to welcome as our guest of honor, Professor Mrs. Esther Yeboah Dansu. Shall we do it for her? Thank you.
The rep of our registrar, Mr. Kamasa, the chair of this important program, Professor Akurampari, the Dean, Faculty of Liberal and Social Studies, Vice Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences Education, the keynote speaker, Mr. Edmond Mukala, staff of UNESCO present, staff and HOD of History Department, staff of Social Sciences Education present, staff of the university who are here, students of EUW and history in particular, students outside the University of Education who are here with us, the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to us all. It is a singular honor and privilege to join you today as the guest of honor for the 2026 Ghana History Day celebration. And I must say that I'm representing the Vice Chancellor and management, who for some reason is not able to be here because he has an equally important program which has taken him outside our campus at this time. We gather to commemorate the independence of our beloved nation under the profound theme, Memory, History, and Heritage for National Unity and Development. On the 6th of March, 1957, under the visionary leadership of Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana became the first sub-Saharan African country to attain independence from colonial rule. That historic declaration, Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever, was not merely a political statement. It is a proclamation of dignity, self-determination, and hope for an entire continent. Today, nearly 7 decades later, we gather not only to celebrate independence, but to reflect deeply on its meaning. Independence was not an end in itself. It was the beginning of a national journey, a journey that continues to demand unity, discipline, sacrifice, and vision. Our theme invites us to consider 3 interconnected pillars. They are memory, history, and heritage. Memory is the foundation of identity. A nation that forgets its past risks losing its direction. Our collective memory holds stories of resistance, struggle, and perseverance, from early nationalist movement to the coordinated efforts of the Big Six, and countless unnamed patriots who sacrificed comfort, security, and even freedom. These memories must not fade into ceremonial rhetoric. They must inform our civic consciousness and inspire responsible citizenship. History. Indeed, history gives the structure and meaning to memory. Through rigorous scholarship and honest inquiry, history helps us to understand not only what happened, but why it happened, and what lessons must guide us forward. Institutions such as the University of Education, Winneba, continue to play vital roles in researching, documenting, and interpreting Ghana's journey from colony to republic, and from political turbulence to democratic stability. Heritage is history embodied. It lives in our efforts and castles, our traditional institutions, our languages, music, festivals, and craftsmanship. Sites such as Cape Coast Castle stands as solemn witnesses to painful chapters of our past, reminding us of our resilience and survival. Our festivals and cultural practices always remind us that diversity is not a weakness, but strength. As a university community, we recognize the historical literacy, that it is very essential for national development. When our youth understand the constitutional struggles and culminated in the Fourth Republic, they are better equipped to defend democracy. When they appreciate the economic and social experiment of earlier decades, they are better prepared to innovate responsibly. National unity does not demand uniformity. Ghana's strength lies in its rich tapestry of culture, ethnicities, and traditions. From the north to the south, and the east to the west, we are bound together by a shared history and a shared destiny. Our independence was achieved collectively. Therefore, our development must also be pursued collectively. Development in its truest sense goes beyond infrastructure and economic statistics. It includes intellectual growth, moral integrity, social justice, and cultural pride. A nation rooted in its history is better positioned to innovate, and people confident in their heritage are more capable of engaging in global community without losing their identity. Management of the University of Education, Winneba, reaffirms its commitment to advancing research in Ghanaian history, preserving archives, digitizing oral tradition, and integrating indigenous knowledge system into modern scholarship. We must leverage technology to ensure that the stories of our communities, urban and rural alike, are preserved for generations yet unborn. On this Ghana History Day, I particularly call upon the youth. Independence is now your inheritance and your responsibility. The sacrifices of the 1957 will only retain their meaning if you uphold integrity, demand accountability, embrace excellence, and work towards inclusive national progress. Let us remember that unity is not automatic. It is intentional. It requires dialogue, tolerance, and willingness to place national interests above partisan or sectional consideration. The dream of independence envisioned a prosperous, just, and united Ghana. That dream remains within reach if we count ourselves to it. As we think of Independence Day today, may we move beyond celebration to reflection, and beyond reflection to action. Let our memory guide us, our history instruct us, and our heritage strengthen us as we build a Ghana that is united in purpose and steadfast in development. Long live our history. Long live our heritage. Long live our unity. And long live Republic of Ghana and University of Education, Winneba. Thank you.
Yes, you can do it better for Professor Dansuredu. Thank you very much, Professor Esther Dansuredu, Pro-Vice Chancellor, University of Education, Winneba, and the rep of the Vice Chancellor at this occasion. I'm going to invite the Bremen Esikuma Senior High School to give us another short performance. Today is the day to learn through drama, through performances, and other series of events. So Bremen Esikuma, get ready. As they get ready to join us here, I would like to introduce some other important guests who are here in our midst. Professor Alfred Cranche, the Deputy Director, DRAID. I think I also saw Dr. Mohammed Adam from Social Studies. Where is Mohammed? All right, so Bremen Esikuma Senior High School, please, your time starts now.
Good morning, judges. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lois Okai Ejiri. We are Brahmane Sikuma Senior High School, proudly known as Beautiful Bars. And we are here to dramatize on the topic and walk through the indigenous show. I urge this beautiful house to relax and enjoy this drama. Thank you.
Before uniforms, before law was bought with a salary, before leadership was measured by power, we speak of a time before the 1984 ordinance redefined our peace as a force. We speak of a time when justice was not bought with a salary, but born of a sacred duty to the soil.
There was a show. This is our history. This is our memory. Before the strangest structures, there was the Asafo, the war people who lived for the peace of their neighbors.
Not metal, not foreign. According to the oral memory of Nana Dankwa III of Brahmane Sikuma, before they were known as Asafo, they were called Abena, a name for my migration from Brahmane in Asante around 1635. Through contact with the Fantis, the name Asafo was adopted, blending our Brahman tongue with Fanti and Aguna influences. Thus, the Asafo became rooted in both identity and governance.
In Brahmane Sikuma, companies like Ekumfi, Epedum, Ahinima, and Apeja formed the backbone. Adontin, Benkum, Nifa, and Chidom divisions. They were the Akwansrafo, the watchers and clearers of the road. They were the king servants who served the common soul
with flesh, blood, and oath.
Let's journey back to see how heritage once built a nation.
We are the defenders of the nation. Hinani Yaso. Yes, Mama, we serve the nation. Hinani Yaso. Yes, Mama, we serve the nation. Brahma Fue Munyeko. Brahma Fue Munyeko. Brahma Fue Munyeko.
Asafo. Asafo. To be Asafo is not to hold a spear, but it is to carry a nation.
We carry ourselves.
A man protects the whole land. The land protects him in return.
Akwan.
Asafo.
Akwan.
Asafo.
Akwan.
Asafo.
Akwan. Asafo. Akwan. Akwan.
Asafo.
Nana, the widow's land is taken without a warning.
Asafo Hine, Asafo Hine, are you there? The assembly. Even the strong shield can face a crack. You must act because the shield is for the people and not for power. Grace too, power given not to consume the weak, but to protect them. If the chief forget of their oath, we remember it.
It's not our own road, but the road of the nation. The land belongs to the above.
Let justice correct power before power destroys justice.
Hey. Obia.
panibano. Yes, what what's not to buy no some many no. Say what's the wabe fee? Some of our friends you are blind. Would dear for friend to go and find her water. Hey, now me say and y'all grow. And I assemble for us. And tomorrow for Fraba was I could to be to my way. As I say, but hey, good me friend dear Wokra. Hey, Safua, 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 Safua. Hey, Safua, I told you to bring water. I didn't tell you to carry the cooler. Safua, hey, I didn't find her. Oh my God, let's go. Hey, Safua, cake tray. Hey, you put your Safua, Safua, Safua. Hey, but don't bring them. You I didn't find my. Hey. Oh, sisters got a full of butterflies to the forest.
Calm down, calm down.
From father to son, not a contract for reward. The Tufuhini linked us to council, ensuring projects serve everyone. Their impact was not measured in the rest, but in the safety of the stream, the openness of the road, the upkeep of the Pusubai shrine, where able men were identified for initiation.
Cross our boundary.
We sought permission.
Pray that without consent.
We take permission next time before entering.
When the shield fights itself, the people bleed.
We were meant to defend the land, not to divide it.
This is the heritage of unity, where the young men of the state are the very hands which build and protect it. You see, the Asafu was the link between the chief's authority and the peace of the society. In permanent Sukuma, the Apija company carried the Omahin in possession. Without them, no chief could appear publicly. This was pristine through service, but history remembers a rupture. Violent clashes in the 1930s made various companies face suspension, yet Apija endured for continued
for wiki. History is not just a story, it is an instruction.
If service become greed, who protects tomorrow?
And we are not a force. We are service.
For the people.
We are service. For the nation. We are service.
For development.
Today, we look at our history to fit our future. If we really want national unity, we must reclaim the spirit back to the service of the people.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bremen Sekuma Senior High School. The performance you just witnessed is titled A Walk Through the Indigenous Shield, the Asafo and Pre-Colonial Justice. You may want to clap for them again. We've gotten to a very important section of the program where we will need to hear from a keynote speaker. To do us the honors of introducing the keynote speaker, I will invite Mr. Isaac Indo. After his introduction, the media group will play for us the national patriotic song, to which we shall all stand and sing to. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. So standing on all existing protocols, I'm already happy that this year too, I'll be the one to introduce the keynote speaker. Now, this keynote speaker, as we know, is called Mr. Edmond Kumola, and he is a Congolese sonologist who holds a master's degree in law, a bachelor's degree in design and planning, and a degree in civil engineering. He stands as a distinguished figure whose career is marked by a significant contributions across the realms of international diplomacy and cultural dialogue, particularly for insightful contributions to the understanding of historical and social development. His diverse roles reflect a deep commitment to cultural preservation, knowledge dissemination, and promotion of education and peace globally. As a UNESCO representative to Ghana and Mali, Mr. Kumola has been instrumental in advancing the organization's mandate, particularly fostering international cooperation, implementing crucial projects, and advocating for policies that support sustainable development through culture and education. Now, he has championed initiatives that brings community together and ensuring that heritage is recognized, protected, and transmitted to future generations. Beyond his diplomatic endeavors, Mr. Kumola is also an accomplished lecturer. His ability to articulate complex ideas to an accessible manner has resonated with students and researchers, and establishing him as a compelling voice on Africa and Africa's Agenda 2063. Mr. Kumola's contribution spans from Silk Road Project, which is now known as Belt and Road Initiative, which is being implemented in China, Mongolia, both North and South Korea, and Japan. And the very purpose of this project is to commemorate the abolition of slave trade and also slavery in the United Kingdom in 2007 and the United States in 2008. He initiated the International African World Heritage Day, which is also celebrated worldwide on every 5th May. With some Afro descent and other people of African origin, and the Department of History in Howard University, Mr. Kumola developed a scientific and cultural interactions between Africans and Americans. He also contributed to the implementation of International Decade for the reapproachment of cultures and the promotion of dialogue among civilians. Now, with all these accomplished development within heritage studies, we have no other person to do us the honor to give us a keynote speech other than Mr. Edmond Kumolo. On this note, audience, our guest speaker or keynote speaker, and also keynote speaker, your audience for this August occasion. Thank you.
We shall stand for the national patriotic song as we wait for the keynote speaker, Mr. Edmond Mukala Ngwemo, to address the audience. Mr. Edmond Mukala Ngwemo may now address the audience.
So it's still morning, so I'll say good morning. There's no one in the room. Good morning. Are you tired? Then good morning. Yeah, that's better. That means that you are alive. It's a very important day. You know, we're calling it the Ghana History Month. I think that's what I'm reading from your t-shirt, which is really quite capital and very, very important. I know that we will be standing on the existing protocol, but let me just acknowledge again Provost, who is here with us, Professor Esther Danso Wideru. Really honored to have you here with us. Our chairman, Professor Kwabena Akurang Pari. Yes, thank you again for chairing us. I acknowledge really the presence of various deans and the registry, I think is also with us here. Distinguished professors, and of course our most inspiring and future leaders, the students. Are you in the room? I can't hear you. Are you in the room? Yes, because this day is your day, and it is really an honor for me, you know, from UNESCO to come and stand with you here today, because we're experiencing and living quite important time in the human history. And so coming from UNESCO, coming from the UN to address to you, it is always a great honor. And maybe before I start, of course, you know, even our chairman highlighted that we will be also coming from UNESCO, we might be talking about heritage. As a theme of this year is touching on memory, history, and heritage for national unity and development. But it is important also to underline memory, whose memory? Heritage, whose heritage? And history, whose history? Because unless we start defining and getting really into the heart of the matter, we will not be able to really even define the very development that we're looking forward. You know, one of the things that I like about your country is, you know, that first symbol that I came across when I was in my years of studying while in China. I learned about Sankofa. You know, Sankofa tells us that it's not wrong to go back for that which you have forgotten. And this is often symbolized by a bird looking backward while moving forward. So signifying that understanding the past is essential for progress. And we also the African proverb that says, you know, a people without knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is a tree without roots. Therefore, highlighting that identity is rooted in understanding where you're coming from and also where you're heading. And so the exercise of understanding your history is not just futile, it's not just a luxury. It is actually shaping, strengthening, and building your own capacity to be worthy of being a leader that the world is looking today and tomorrow. And therefore coming to the house of teachers where they are groomed and trained and prepared, and you being the future teachers that are going to educate and build skill of young Ghanaians or even young Africans, if not even young men and women in the world, it is capital that you have a better understanding of what history holds, what really is the truth about what Africans have contributed to the global civilization. So it is very, very important for me and an honor to be here today. But before we dive into this aspect of heritage and culture, which as UNESCO define it, you know, the heritage is actually a accumulation of testimonies of what represent really the essence of people left from generation and transmitted to generation to come, both tangible and intangible, from physical monuments that stand as a testimony of ingenuity, creativity, skill, sciences that has been captured to those existing monuments into the living heritage, those best practices that are transmitted through languages, practices such as the kente that was just inscribed, and today we are already celebrating the fugu. How many of you have already purchased their fugu? You don't have fugu? Be careful, the price is going up. You better go and get your fugu quickly because, you know, the fugu now is becoming popular, and I think it becomes also a best practice. You know, the skill to produce it is also an intangible cultural heritage. So we have enormous of practices from languages to music and high life, for example. All of this represent a collective memory, a heritage, a living heritage of communities. They need to be preserved. But for them to be preserved and to be celebrated, we need to understand history. And so I will be touching more from the UN perspective of that particular history. But before I dive into, I need just to recall, why are we doing it here in Ghana? Because you know His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, right? Oh, that's so quiet. Do you know him? Yes, I know that you should know him, otherwise you'll be in trouble. You know that he's the champion of the African Union, leading initiatives, in particular touching on the issue of financial sovereignty, but most also about gender equality as well as historic justice. He advocates for strengthening African financial institutions, promoting gender equality, and driving the campaign for reparation regarding slave trade and slavery and even colonialism. Now, why does it matter for us? It matters because as champion for justice and reparation, His Excellency President Mahama leads the whole of African Union effort to seek global recognition and reparation for the transatlantic slave trade and slavery as one of the gravest crime against humanity, aiming to address historical injustice. Why injustice? It means therefore there is not yet justice in that matter. He is leading the initiative to present a resolution this year on slave trade and slavery as the gravest crime against humanity, which brings us at the heart of this very heritage, this very history. This heritage that we celebrate is connected to our history, and that history has not really beneficiated to the justice that it deserved. And so today, my intervention is actually looking into it so that not only that you're looking into the past, but you're understanding that that past is now catching us today. Unless you understand what is going on, how your president is championing that cause for the whole of Africa and the African diaspora, you will not even understand your past. Are you with me? So it is therefore, ladies and gentlemen, it is with an immense and profound respect that I stand before you today, not just to present, but also as a fellow traveler on the great journey of history. We gathered at a pivotal moment, a time when understanding our past is not merely an academic exercise, but a vital necessity for charting a course towards a brighter future. Today, I will speak about the long-concealed history of Africa, one of the dark chapters of human history, the transatlantic slave trade and slavery. Drawing deeply from the monumental findings within UNESCO General History publications, in which I think my colleagues have brought some copies that we're going to officially give also to the provost, the electronic copies, since we didn't bring the hard one. So today we gather not merely to revisit a sequence of dates, but to trace a moral journey, a journey from the ruins of war to the architect of peace, from erased voices to restored narratives, from denial to recognition, from inherent suffering to intentional dignity. So while many people are still talking about that we are looking for reparation, economic reparation, that is not really the heart of the matter. It is about justice and the dignity of human. If the economic aspect also is part of it, why not? But it is the dignity that we're looking above all. So we meet at the crossroads where history is not behind us, but within us, where the past is not a museum artifact, but an active force shaping opportunity, shaping identity, shaping whose humanity is assumed, and whose must still be defended. So let us then ask the question that is both simple and profound. What is peace? And I think you have it on the screen somewhere. What is peace if it is built on forgetting? What is reconciliation if truth is postponed? What is progress if it is purchased at the price of silence? And that the silence has been haunting the people of African descent for over 4 centuries, if not we are entering already the 5th century. The narrative that we present today is inspiring because it proves essential that human beings and nation can choose to learn, that institution can be used not only to govern, but to heal, that education as we are today can be more than instruction, it can be liberation. So my intervention will cover 5 major chapters. The reason why UNESCO was created, one of the UN agencies, specialized agencies, UNESCO General History of Africa, the UNESCO Slavery Project, the Durban Conference on Racism and Xenophobia, and the international decade of people of African descent, which is still ongoing today. So this is not merely a chain of events, it is a chain of conscience. And each link matters because it pulls the world towards a journey of narrative restitution, a journey to justice for all. So why UNESCO was created? Briefly, it was created to build peace in the minds of people. When UNESCO was created in 1945, the world stood stone by what human beings had done to one another. Cities had been reduced to rubble. Families had been separated and destroyed. Entire communities had been targeted for extension. And the great question was not only how to rebuild buildings, but how to rebuild the human broken spirit, how to prevent the repetition of catastrophe. UNESCO founding idea was revolutionary and is simplified, that since wars begins in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men and women, it is in the mind of men and women that the defenses of peace must be constructed. Think about the courage of that idea. It said that peace is not posed between wars. Peace is an education. Peace is a culture. Peace is a commitment to truth, to dialogue, and to the full dignity of every human being. And I insist, the dignity of every human being, not just a selected few. UNESCO creation was therefore a declaration that knowledge is neutral. It can be weaponized, as the chairman highlighted it, for hatred or mobilized for mutual understanding. Education can be used to rank human worth or to affirm that every human life is of equal value. Culture can be used to exclude or to connect. Science can be used to dominate or to serve humanity. So UNESCO was created because the world recognized that ignorance is not harmless. Ignorance can become ideology, ideology can become policy, and policy can become devastating. So UNESCO set out to build bridges between nations, between disciplines, between memories. Excuse me, let me lubricate a little bit my voice. Huh? Are you getting it? So UNESCO, oh, that sounds better, even I'm impressed. So UNESCO set out to build bridges between nation, between discipline, between memory. It aimed to protect heritage, just like the chairperson highlighted, to expand education, to encourage scientific cooperation, and to defend freedom of expression. In doing so, it also created a space for a long overdue reckoning that peace requires not only ending violence, but addressing the historical violence that still shapes the present. I repeat, peace requires not only ending violence, but addressing the historical violence that still shape the present. And there lies at the heart of our story, the understanding that construct peace must also confront the narratives that have justified oppression. We must illuminate the history that were hidden. We must restore what was taken, not only in land or labor, but in truth and recognition. That's why UNESCO then brought in what we call the general history of Africa. So for centuries, Africa was spoken about rather than listened to, described rather than understood. We don't have, oh, we have a presentation, good. So described rather than understood, measured by what was taken from it, rather than by what it gave to humanity. Last year, I came and I demonstrated the amazing and unchallenged contribution of Africa to global civilization, not just one, all civilization, from being the birthplace of mankind into nurturing both intellectually and scientifically all the civilizations of the world. All of them really were nurtured from the African civilization. So highlighting the contribution of Africa is capital. Too often, textbooks reduce Africa to a footnote, a place of extraction, minerals, or a state for outsiders, a continent introduced only at the moment of its violation. Even today, the map of the world continues to display a disproportionately smaller size of the continent that is actual size, and I hope you know that. How many of you know that the map that you're using, or even the one you use in Google, is not correct? Africa is far larger, bigger than what you see on those mapping. Africa is not a footnote. Africa is a source. Africa is not a chapter that begins with colonization. Africa is a library of civilizations, philosophies, technology, arts, and spiritual tradition. Africa is an ancient and modern, diverse and dynamic, and its people have always been authors of their own history. So no one should come and write it for us. We should write our own history. And you remember, last year also I underlined it, and I hope many of you went to verify, that before Christopher Columbus set his foot in the Americas, Africa, Abubakar, the brother of Mansa Musa, whom you know very well, the one who went to Mansa Musa, who took gold into the Mediterranean and the Middle East. His brother, who was actually the emperor at that time, abdicated so that he would continue his scientific journey into America. And he did it 3 times. Now let me ask you, if we did not have schools, if we did not have secondary school, let's name it that way, or universities, how could you cross the ocean, tame the weather, manage to go through the unstable seas, the hurricane and the typhoons, feed hundreds of sailmen in your ship with sufficient food to go and come back, unless you had the capacity, the skills, and the knowledge to build a ship that can resist, a ship that have also skills and engineers in your system. Now, if you had engineer, how come you were being labeled that you were living in trees and you were uncivilized, and yet you crossed the ocean before Christopher Columbus? Give a clap to yourself, to your ancestors. So it is in this spirit that UNESCO, yeah, exactly, we are challenging the narratives. We are talking about history, isn't it? Are you excited that you're part of those who are studying history? I tell you, history is liberating. History is empowering. History, if you want to be, you know, when you look at your president, when he's speaking, he's a man of history. You cannot be a leader unless you understand your history. Okay? Yes, give a clap. Don't hesitate. Give a clap on that. Should I throw again 2 elements? Should I? Just 2. They also tell us that, they tell us that we don't have history. They tell us, I'll just give you the 2. They've made us hate ourselves. We hate our own countries. We hate our own continent. We despise it because of the educational system that causes us to look down into our own countries, cultures, and practices. And they destroy our languages, which is, the languages. The first information I want to tell you is that there was one country in the Western world that sent experts to study the local languages of African, the indigenous languages as they call it. I don't call it indigenous language because they're just languages. They sent experts to study African languages. The name of plants, listen to me, you who neglect all your plants and the forests. The name of plants in your local mother languages. They collected it from all sub-Saharan African countries, even all the way to Latin America. Do you know what they did with the reports? You will probably say that they gave it to the Academy of Language, right? No, they gave it to the Medical Academy because it contains information about how those plants can cure diseases in your body. So these are scientific encyclopedia. So your language, your mother language, is not just your cultural identity. It is a living and scientific encyclopedia. So losing even one small language is actually losing a big scientific portion of our ancestral scientific knowledge. Are you getting me? So don't look down on your mother language. It is so rich. We have not even taken time to dive into the scientific information. But remember, some countries are already studying it. Some countries will come and collect your herbs. And it will be too late for you. By the time you wake up, they will sell you those medicine again at a very high price. So you better wake up and start looking into the science embedded in your mother language. It's more than cultural identity. The second one, your skin. They have made you hate yourself. They called you black, right? Are you black? Thank you. No one is even white. Because I know what white means, what white looks like. But again, you see, this is the alienation, the educational system to push you to look down upon yourself. Go and ask a medical or a scientist. He will tell you one of the best healthy skin is the melanate. We are melanate people. So the skin, when you're bleaching, you are actually destroying your own immune system. And you need to know that. And why will you bleach when actually what strengthens your immune partly is actually the melanate that you have? So use your shea butter and enjoy melanate beautiful, because I won't say black beautiful anymore. I will say melanate beautiful. So those are just information for you. You can clap for that. I was going to say something more, but let's calm down. Let's continue our text now. So why is so important? Because historical erasure is not an academic accident. It is a political strategy. When people are told that they have no history, they are easier to dispossess. When a continent is portrayed as lacking civilization, its exploitation becomes easier to justify. Are you getting me? When the achievement of people are minimized, their rights in the present are negotiated rather than recognized. That's why you understand now why the continent is facing what it's facing. So the general history of Africa represented a turning of the pages, sometimes literally in classroom. It challenged the world to see Africa as a whole, in its empires and city-states, in its systems, knowledge, in its contribution to mathematics, metallurgy, navigation, architecture, literature, medicine, pharmacy, governance. It affirms that African history is not separated from world history. It is actually foundational to it. And it more than correct the record. It restored dignity. It offered young people of African descent a mirror that reflects not only suffering, but achievement. Not only survival, but creativity and leadership. It offered the world a chance to learn humility, to recognize that global civilization is not the product of one region, one race, or one tradition, but a shared human genius. So that's why UNESCO supported this initiative, and it is not merely publishing volume. It was challenging an old global habit, the habit of telling history with some voices amplified and others muted. It was insisting that peace requires intellectual justice. Which then led us, as with the general history of Africa, then we found about the slave trade. There came another profound step in 1994. UNESCO then launched the Slavery Project. This was not only a research program, it was an act of moral courage. It was deliberate decision to confront one history most vast and brutal system, the transatlantic slave trade and the broader enslavement of African across continent and centuries. Why did this matter so deeply? Because slavery was not only a crime of labor theft, it was a crime of identity theft. It attempted to sever names from families, languages from tongues, religion from rituals, and memory from their rightful heirs. It sought to make human beings into commodities and to make cruelty appear normal. Yet the silence around slavery, its mechanism, and its profits, its cultural destruction and legacy has also been a kind of violence. Silence can become denial, denial can become distortion, distortion can become a platform for new injustice. The Slave Root Project aimed to identify, document, teach the truth, the roots. You know, some of the highways that you are using today were the routes that the enslaved African used to work in. The ports, the markets, the laws, the ships, the plantation and the resistance. It sought to preserve sites of memory, to support museums and archives, to encourage public education and to promote dialogue among regions connected by this painful chapter, such as Africa, the America, the Caribbean, Europe, and beyond. We should also not forget the Arab-Islamic slave trade, specifically the enslaved of millions of Africans over the millennium and their transportation to Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa through the Trans-Saharan routes, Red Sea, as well as the Indian route. So in short, the Slave Root Project also did something vital. It centered the agency of the enslaved and the descendant. It recognized that alongside trauma, there was resistance, maroon communities, revolt, intellectual tradition, spiritual endurance, artistic innovation. By naming root, UNESCO was naming responsibility. By documenting profit, it was also exposing complicity. By preserving memory, it also protects the future. When society teaches the truth about slavery, they are not only honoring the past, they are making it harder for racism to masquerade as tradition. They are making it harder for inequality to be defended as faith. They are making it possible, finally, for descendants to speak not only of pain, but of pride and belonging. There, because of that, it led to the first conference of Durban. Durban Conference, which then proclaimed slave trade and slavery as a crime against humanity. First time after over 4 centuries. 2 centuries after the abolitions, then the world started recognizing that slave trade and slavery was a crime against humanity. This chapter became word-shaped. When the world calls something as a tragedy, it can still avoid responsibility. When you call it as a tragedy, you can avoid the responsibility. But when the world names something a crime against humanity, it acknowledges that the offense is not only against individuals, but against human families itself, against the idea that any person can ever be property. That declaration was not just a symbol alone, it was a signal that the world must confront racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerance, not as isolated prejudices, but as legacy that have been built over centuries and reinforced by institution and normalized narratives. I'm trying to make it a little, so that is on the Durban. Then after the Durban, because of the Durban, which was done in 2001, we moved then in 2009, the review conference on Durban, just to see how many progress was done. So in 2009, in particular the year 2011, was then proclaimed the International Year of Population of African Descent. UNESCO actively participated in that event. And it was clear that despite the significant number of action undertaken by state, international organizations, civil society, and the scope of the world to be accomplished, to advance the rights of people of African descent could not be achieved only in 1 year. So in 2013, the UN General Assembly proclaimed 2015 to 2024 the International Decade of the People of African Descent. This was more than just a commemoration. It was a framework for action organized around three pillars: recognition, justice, and development, which is really coming into the theme that you're talking about today. You know, you're touching about memory, history, heritage for national unity and development. But that development, unless we start recognizing the past, unless we start seeking justice for what happened, and therefore looking together for development. So recognition means seeing people of African descent fully, beyond stereotypes, beyond invisibility, beyond token inclusion. It means honoring contribution in every field: science, literature, labor movement, art, public service, entrepreneurship, and community leadership. It also means telling the truth about history in school, media, and public space. And I really thank the media that are present here today. Let's give them a big clap because they are voicing it loud for us. Justice. Justice means confronting discrimination in law and in practice. It means ensuring equal protection, fair treatment, and meaningful remedy when rights are violated. It means challenging racism not only as a personal bias, but as a system, one that can be measured, studied, and reformed. Then comes development, means ensuring that equality is material, not merely rhetorical. It means access to quality education, healthcare, decent work, housing, political participation. It means understanding that centuries of exclusion cannot be overcome by patience alone, but by intentional policy and sustained commitment. So this decade matters because it links memory to transformation. It says we will not only remember the past, but we will change the present. We will not only teach history, we will build equity. We will not only condemn racism, we will dismantle it. And it reinforces an inspiring truth that global institutions can be used not only to manage relations among states, but to protect the dignity of communities whose rights have too often been delayed. It is recognition that people of African descent are not minority in history. They are central to the story of humanity. So to encourage, the action that of the destiny, or the decade, sorry, is to encourage states to implement appropriate policy to reduce injustice, racism, discrimination against people of African descent, and to promote cultural diversity by valuing in particular the common cultural legacy that emerged from the interaction provoked by history and slave trade. So under the theme, people of African descent, recognition, justice, and development, the decade symbolized the international community's determination to reveal the history, the memory, and the contemporary implication of slavery across the globe. It offers an opportunity to reflect upon the dehumanization and deportation of millions of human beings, but also upon the resistance that enabled us to redefine the very notion of humanity, dignity, citizenship, equity, and freedom. So what is our shared responsibility? So what does this journey ask us or here and now? It asks us to treat history as responsibility, to define education as a public good, to protect archives, museum, heritage site, oral history, to resist the temptation of comfortable forgetting, but to reject the false peace of ignorance. So it asks educators who are present here to teach with courage and completeness. It asks institutions such as yours and others to fund research and preserve memory. It asks government to ensure that anti-discrimination commitment become measurable outcomes. It asks cultural leaders to tell stories that humanize, not stories that harm. It asks every listener to become a guardian of dignity in daily life, in workplace, school, media, and policy. Because the arc from UNESCO creation of the General History of Africa to the slave trade and Durban and the international decade is not merely institutional narrative. It is a moral blueprint. It shows that the world can move step by step from denial to acknowledgement, from silence to speech, from distortion to truth, and injustice to repair. So let's therefore remember that from those stages that I've just mentioned, we have a responsibility and a role to play. And that role become critical and capital, and your contribution remain essential in advancing the cause of humanity. So as we look into this effort in restitution, there are certain capital truths that we need to address. Truth and education, by integrating accurate histories of slavery, colonialism, and African contribution into curricula, teacher training, and public memory. In the area of cultural justice, to accelerate the return and restitution of looted artifacts, and establishing fair partnership for conservation, exhibition, and scholarship that respect origin, context, and ownership. In economic and development repair, investing in transformative, local-led priorities, health system, technology transfer, climate resilient, and youth employment. In the area institutional accountability, ensuring that global system, financial, educational, and cultural do not continue patterns of exclusion, but undervaluation, structural disadvantage for people of African descent. And last but not the least, commemoration and memorialization, protecting sites of memory, supporting survivor descendant communities to remembrance becomes a living commitment rather than a ceremonial pose. So UNESCO continue to stand and to work with all member states in this endeavor to ensure that these transformative actions remain really at the heart of all of us. So to conclude, dear professors, dear students, the choice before us is not whether the past will remain. The past is already present in inequality, in underdevelopment, in cultural absence, and in the wounds that persist across generations. So the choice is whether we will continue to manage these realities with silence or transform them with courage. In the spirit of UNESCO, let's leave this hall ready to build defenses of peace in the minds of all by teaching what happened, naming what it was, and repairing what it broke. And this brings us to the understanding of one of the key child of this nation. Could you project me the next one? And I think you remember George Floyd. And I think the wake-up call came when he was assassinated. But let's look beyond that. You know, as I said in the beginning, this is the statement from His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. Let me read it. He's saying that slave trade must be recognized as the gravest crime against humanity. As the African champion on reparation, Ghana intends to introduce a motion of this august body to that effect. We must demand reparation for the enslaved of people and the colonization and our land that resulted in the theft of natural resources as well as looting of artifacts. You will now understand this is what I call in the title of my intervention an unfinished quest. It has started since those who were rebelling and fighting against slave trade and slavery. And today, your president, he's a champion for Africa, and he's taking, and I have to confess, it's the first time we're having at that leadership level someone who's taking the cause of Africa with his other brothers, presidents of other countries in the continent and beyond, to champion this cause for the people of African descent, to address it. And we believe, as Lumumba said, Patrice Lumumba said, that Africa will write its own history, which we now have, and to the north and the south of the Sahara, it will be a glorious and dignified history. History is being reshaped, history is being rewritten, and your country, especially as we're looking next year for the 70th anniversary of Ghana independence, and you know that Ghana was the first country that opened the door for African independence. You know, the sub-Saharan African countries. It started here, and it's logical that your president, who is also most likely will be the next AU chairperson, will also lead in that cause and championing this cause for the African continent. We need that leadership to continue to voice loud and clear. And so this is an unfinished quest, and I think Ghana is on the right path, and Ghana is setting the tone and mobilizing, and we believe that dignity, justice, development, and also memory will be honored in this continent and beyond. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Edmond Mukala Ngwemo, for that very illuminating speech. We really appreciate. I know that we have learned so much within this very short time, and many of us has a lot to take back with. We are nearing the end of the program, but at this point, I will invite Gomwa SHS to give us a short performance. All right, before the Gomwa SHS students come to give us the performance, Mr. Edmond Mukala has a gesture that he wants to do for this university and for the Department of History Education. I would therefore invite the head of the Department of History Education and also Mr. Mukala to present his kind gesture to us. It's pen drives that is loaded with the UNESCO History Series for our use.
So these are the volumes of the General History of Africa. There are 8 of them. They are also accessible online, but it's just symbolically we are now donating. This is a work, history written by African experts and other parts of the world. It is the lion story, no longer the story of the hunter, but the story of the lion by the lions. And I'm handing it now over to your head. This is for every one of you for access, and the online will also be provided so that you can really access and start reading them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ngwemo. Before the Bremen Sukuma students, Gomwa Senior High School students come to give us the performance, I'd like to acknowledge the schools that are represented here this afternoon. We have Ebenezer Memorial Educational Center. There are 29 students with 1 teacher. Divine Legacy Academy. Divine Legacy Academy, 47 students with 5 teachers. AME Zion Girls Senior High School, Winneba, 30 students with 6 teachers. University Practice North, JHS, 48 students, Winneba Senior High School. Mothers Unique Love School, Pentecost Preparatory School, Gomwa Senior High Technical School, Bremen Sikuma Senior High School, Methodist B, JHS, Swedro Senior High School, Anchorage Senior High School, Odobiba Academy, Infantepim Senior High School, Church of Christ Preparatory, Winneba Presby JHS, Oswald Academy, Winneba MAJHS, and of course, students from the Department of History Education representing, and of course, we recognize the efforts of the Association of History Students, ASHES, in this beautiful endeavor. We also recognize the Head Department of Social Studies, Professor Isaac Nakwa Eshon. Gomwa Senior High Technical, you just have about 10 minutes and your time is already running.
My name is Olivia Monoko Asom, a proud student of Gomwa Senior High Technical School. My team and I are here to give a short drama entitled The Chains of Gold. Under the theme, the Transatlantic Slave Trade. Long time ago, before strangers popped into our land, the land was rich in gold, cocoa, and dignity. Many individuals in the land love and cherish each other. They supported each other. They used to perform their local activities, such as farming, weaving, fishing, and many more.
You abusia ene o man crowd. Oh, nana it's not you.
Abusia crowd. Me mama tina si e jima hinu wa.
Yeah, you know. Nana
chame.
Asama na egusi bobo hu a de beduru ha ni se. Na no ye nyina ye bo akonya ma o ka kire ye se. Ye ba dwundwen ekuru no puntu ho. Ene sene ebesi ama ekuru na tumpon. Nti eno ho nkoma na ye di a de twa o se o bebe.
Yo chame. Asase kakra na dance ni chi won. Ka pesa ke yi so. Nanka yesisi adan kakra o se na ye hye na on se nya o ho so promasi. Na e fa mom no mutini mi.
Yeah.
Ale chame ne ka se bia o biana.
Ebi onana.
I mean, good day, elders of this land. How are you all doing?
Nana kasa be no ura yi.
I see if they don't understand. I see if they don't understand what you are trying to say. So let me translate it for them.
Memo how nana ni mpeni for. Eju so abranti.
Nana ni mpeni for. Nana chame. Mesro manento na say. Baby aye fi ba de ehwo ye boko. Na sa broni fita ye ogina mi chen. Enu nti ena ye ba ha. Na sa ye wa ha se ya opo o asem kuma bia wo so ka kire mu. Enti ye betie fi ni chen na ye de ni na ama.
Okay, so we just came here for a specific test to trade with y'all. Yes, we came here with clothes. We came here with guns. We came with mirror and sugar to trade with you. In exchange, we need your young, strong man and your gold. If only you be able to do that, then we'll be able to trade with y'all. Thank you.
Nana Chame, oh,
Branche mo papa.
Mananto nana ni penny for say, Adia Bruni, a patch and say, or by son mu baby dija. Na Jane on the mu baby D, or say, or the BB by a friend a mirror, or the BB fire, your friend sugar, and also the BB by your friend or gun. Na sanya moina and sana musabe to me akano, when ya mo goodieno. Any imbebuna. Omo broni mu ha na omo ye den na makoye adwuma e wo na saasi so enti nana chiame we ni asam kakra wo ho
Asasi be. Who be DJ ye my. Na why asasi na be say adwuma. You understand? Tell them now I'm gonna pay them handsomely. So you should grant us our wishes. Okay?
Nana chiame wo ho broni fita yo gina mi chen wa hai o se manento nana se obetua mu kaye pa nti edu wadia mamo nje no ho
yo nana ne mpenifo abusua ena krado sene abranti osini wura fita yo gina ni chen omo ba ya oma nyapone dwadie ena omo ne ye ba bedie ne mum no kan sembebre na ye mum yekurum kasam no o se bibi e sugar a ye de ye friend asichiri ene ahwehwe osi bibi nso de etu ene atudura edi kumu ni nyina so omo de bi baaya ompese omo ne edidwa na na edwade na nya bone mesre na emom no de omo pɛ nyina ne sɛ omo pɛ emrante omo ho adin emabunu omo ho adin emrante ne katase nyina e de omo akɔ adwuma ɛwɔ omo asase so te sɛ de emrante okobaaya wa yɛ fefefe saa na ɔpɛ nti sɛ ekwan da hɔ no ma ana mo kwan na mai wona ka che
chame maneto ya branti ni afita ya mo ba se some by some ni be didwa wa sumdiem dia ye wa ha mo mo na some ni ye betina sumdiem so a e be je mo atum nti na mo nko e be ma mo ndansa so no mo sansom bra e be bungwa na enioma na mo ka som dia ba no ya hwe na ya ji ne fe oso
yo abrantie sene da sebresi ni ositie na ntu wura fita yi se yenyina nkrani mu en tutum krani na ye sumie so ma adwene nti ye be ma mo nansa na makwa akwada adwene ho ye nso mpanifo nso ye be da adwene ho se mo ba nansa na ginefa ya fa no so ye de atomanim se ye be di atomu anase ye nyintumu ni nyina e wosumie mu nti ye be ma mo nansa na makwa ne ye so ya adwene ho anana Claro, wo bibi kana.
Nana ni penifo e da masi ye pa se ye ba mo je ye fe so and ye be ko na ya samba na nsa so da masi.
So thank you all for the great opportunity and I'm so pleased and welcome. Thank you all. You're welcome. Thank you, Nana. Thank you.
yo chame say the bibie ko good ya meba no ma start o ma sha mpunju mana sinti tuapona yanko bom echi dom no mu yiri
abusua na krado ani de mu ala na na esori o nti yenyina na so therefore tutu tata pia onana
Hey, Abba, it's been a long
time.
Oh, me too. It's been a long time.
So what about you? What's going on?
Who is this? Who is this? Who is this?
No again. Not again.
Hey,
Cha.
They're making noise here.
Said, you know what has happened?
What?
You know what has happened?
No, no, we
Guess
don't know.
what?
Tell us. Guess.
Guess what?
Oh. Sit down. Oh.
Hey, my sister. You know what has happened?
What?
You
Just.
know what Ida Kwat says? That boy who has been working here like, hey, that boy, he has been so nice, like.
Hey, you're lying.
think
You're
I'm
lying.
lying?
You are lying. Stop
I just came back
lying.
from the kingdom, oh.
You are lying. Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Are you really, really
so
sure?
Like, he didn't come alone, no. He came with some white man. He's so white. White. Like
In our land?
In our land.
Oh.
He said he's come to trade with us. He's coming to trade. He said he's doing something called sugar.
Are you sure?
And mirror. He said in exchange
Wow.
he will take us, the youth, to where he came from.
Hey, let me I'll go.
I'm going,
I'll go.
I'm going
to pack my things.
I'm leaving you guys, though.
Hey,
I am
go.
going.
You send us to the palace. Bye bye. Go. Hey.
Oh, so you're leaving me here?
Hey, me too. I'm going.
So you're also leaving me here? Hey, then I'm also.
Do you know that upon all what they told the chief, his people, and the elders, there was a hidden truth? The people said to the king that they are going to help us. Let's see whether truly they are going to help us.
Nana, welcome. Grado and Abusia. So we are all here waiting for the guest. There are the young man and the white man who came here just 3 days ago. We told them to come back this day, which was we give them 3 days, and the time is due, so they will come today.
Yes, we have prepared everything for them to come for it. So we are just waiting for them to come so that I can hand it over to them. They are already here.
Thank you once again. We are back in your humble palace. And I like the way you have situated yourselves. It's nice. So we've come with the goods that we told you about. Yakubu. Good day, Nana. Please, we said you are going to bring some goose. Here are the goose. Chami, Pachoma Neto Nana say, you bet to me the goosey at your Nana.
Nana, due to this young man, they've come back again. They came here 3 days ago, and we gave them 3 days to come back. And they are here. And they've brought all the things they told us about. They want to present it to us. So Nana, if it will not bother you, can you give them the permit to?
Permission granted.
Young man, Nana said you can.
Thank you, Nana. Nana Chame.
Young man.
This is the sugar that we were talking about. This sugar, quality sugar. Nana Chame, have it and see. Take a look of it.
Young man, why is he shaking and making noise?
We eat it.
We eat it.
Yes, I can even taste some right now.
Taste them before I eat.
As you can see, I've tasted some.
Wait, oh, are they not stones?
No. Taste it and see.
Nana, it tastes very, very great. Tastes very, very great.
Please, you can have it.
Okay, so I'll put in there for Nana. Nana.
Well. We also came here with mirror. You can take a look again. Ah, no.
How do they use this one?
Relax. It's like this.
Hey, Nana, look at me, oh. Nana, I can see myself, oh. And everything I do.
Why are you making noise like that? Go and give it to Musafin.
What is this? Hey! What is this? Hey, I can see myself. Kadu. Hey! Are you guys here to kill us? Or what? What is this?
Tell me why. What's happening here?
We can see ourselves. Oh.
Are you sure? Put it down.
Well, man, what else? Well. Nana, we have more here. This is called whiskey or wine. Hello, Nana. I can even taste some. It tastes good and great.
Young man, are you not sure that river denso that you fetch in this bottle?
No. This is called whiskey. It's very strong and delicious. Nana, I think this thing look like gonna taste it. Look how drink.
Yeah, but they are calling whiskey. I don't know what they are talking about. Let's just eat and see.
It's for me, don't pass it to me. I won't drink.
Nana, this one takes very. It's like our own gin here. Young man, give it to me. You will send this one again.
You can have it.
Nana, we've taken.
Nana Chami.
Young man.
This gunpowder. I can do some small experiments here for you. Nana Chami. This gun. So I'm going to put a gunpowder inside the gun. Nana Chami.
Young man.
Please take a good look at the goat. I'm going to kill the goat right now. Look at where I'm standing.
Hey, young man. Nana, let me run for my life.
Don't run away.
Hey.
It's just a gun.
Nana, let me run for my life.
You have nothing to be afraid of.
Hey, young man.
I'm sitting here, you're running away.
Sorry, Nana. Nana, I'm sorry. Young man.
Why? You're gonna get the goat.
That's right.
Please, you can have it.
Oh, nah, young man, I can't hold that.
Oh, Nana Chami. You can have it. Hey, Nana Chami, don't hold it like that.
Hey, young man, why?
Hold it like this.
Like this. Nana. Okay, Nana.
So, Chami, ask them if that's all what they brought.
Young man, Nana said I should ask you if the things you brought today is all you said the other day that you bring.
No. There is more of where I came from. Okay? So you don't have to worry. Okay? Again, we did your mind.
On which land? No, Nana. I won't understand this.
Brother, let them go and bring the goat there because what they are trying to do right now, we've been afraid.
That man's right.
But Jamin, go to the next room and bring the goat. Okay.
So you're going to bring the gold. Just relax, okay? You're going to bring the gold.
Nana. Prado, I brought the gold as you said. Nana, you can testify to see. Young man, as you said, we have plenty of gold in our land. You can see it for yourself.
It's real gold. Oh my God, we're gonna be rich.
These people are very illiterate. They don't know nothing about the gold.
So, we thank you all for the great opportunity. We are grateful for the gold. And I'm so grateful. We'll be back in 3 days' time for the slaves. Thank you all. Listen.
Nana, show me.
Young man,
please. You have to tell Nana that we will come back for the strong men and the strong women. Okay? Thank you very much. We will take our leave.
Okay. Nana, don't you think selling of our people and our precious goods is very dangerous?
As for you, don't want any development in this town too. Them send this gold. What do you use it for? Then, like these things look like stones to me. Every day I've been throwing them away. As for you, dear Nana, talk to him, Nana, please.
Nana, it's really true. Because there's a saying that if all the trees in the forest are being cut down to fight fire, there will be no forest again. But Nana, this one is very necessary. We need to take their guns. Look at the guns they brought and the staffs they brought together with their guns. And it will help us very much. Look at the wars the nearby towns are bringing it to us. Nana, I think this gun will help us fight against them. Nana, we said something about what they brought. So if you also have something to say, Nana, say it.
Yes.
I have nothing to say, Chairman. So, Prado, Ebusia, let us all take our leave. Go home.
Even that trees he's talking about, there will be afforestation.
Nana, it seems that they have already brought them.
Nana Chame, please. We are here for the strong men and the strong women. As you can see, this man is very strong. Wow, you also have very beautiful ladies, and they'll help us in our land.
Nana, why? Nana, what have we done, Nana? Nana, why are you treating like we are thieves? Nana, why? Nana.
There's nothing wrong. It's just trading. We are trading. So you have to do what they tell you.
You promised to protect us. Nana, you swear before our sisters.
Yes, I know. I promised.
So what we suffer?
This is just a trade. You're just going to work on their lands. You'll come back very soon. I promise.
Let us go, Nana. Let us go, Nana.
I can't let you go just like that. If I let you go, they will kill us all. They'll treat us like slaves. So may the gods be with you. Young man,
History must
take them
remember
away.
this.
Nana.
Okay, we are grateful and we thank you for the slaves. We'll be back again in the next few months to trade with you. Thank you all. Yakubu, take them away.
And you are going to work. You get
Take
money.
them, take them, take
you
them.
get money. Okay.
Yes, the ladies are beautiful. Yes. You know what? You know what you do? You take the fine ladies to my chambers tonight. Yes, clean them up very well. Take them to my chambers. I'm gonna work with them this evening. I'll bring them, boss. I'll bring them, boss. Take care. Nana, it's who say, and go for it. Who say, behind Yama in the Dachi.
Ebusia, ebesia siri. Echimba ono. Ebenye biaba, no more besumi. It's me how.
See, Nana, the weapons are going to help us. And even we have to create more emphasis on the children camp. Practice afforestation. Because last time, my brother gave a proverb that when the trees are whatever, my brother, there will be afforestation, and so we replace those trees. Okay?
Nana, I'm very sad today. Nana, look at how they were crying. Nana, have you forgotten there is a saying that a river that forgets where it starts from, that river dries up. Nana, I think we shouldn't have done this.
Charming. It's already done. So all what you have to do is protect the young ones coming.
Yes.
So just we have to go home back and take our sleeps because you are very, very tired. Very soon we'll be back here for some days. Thank you.
So, and crowd, we may leave.
Over 50 million Africans were sent across the Atlantic coast. Many never returned. Their spirits build nations afar.
They took our bodies.
But they couldn't take our strength. Africa, our motherland, has really suffered. Africa, our motherland, has gone through many pains, but we will never give up. Unity is once earned us. Assuming these elders, the chief, has one unity among themselves, do you think they will quarrel among themselves? No, they won't. Because they don't have unity among themselves, they started quarreling. We pray that our motherland will always live forever. We pray that our motherland will teach us what to do at the right time. We pray that we may live one. Let's no greed divide us again. Let's unity always bind us. A quote always says, together and divided. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gumwa Senior High Technical School, for that riveting performance. We really appreciate. The performance is entitled "The Chain of Gold: The Transatlantic Slave Trade in Ghana." All too soon, we shall be getting to the end of the program. But before my co-MC takes over from me, we'll watch a short documentary which was presented by Infantipim School. The documentary is just about 9 minutes, and it is titled "The Appellations of Cape Coast, Elmina, Anumabukwesi Ampoma Apiedu." Please, the media people, can you let it roll?
culture, and their character. In this documentary, we'll be looking at the appellations of Elmina, Anomabu, and Cape Coast. In the heart of Ghana's central region lies a story of identity, migration, and pride, a story that begins at Marquessy. According to the Sankofa series, Far Too, the Fantis claim to have separated themselves from their Asante around AD 1250. This act became the origin of their name, Far Too, meaning the half that's left. The Fantis left their Asante at Krakum, present-day Techiman. The Fantis were led by three legendary leaders, Oburuman Kuma, Udapijan, and Osun. Tradition says Oburuman Kuma and Udapijan died on this exodus. Osun then led the people to what we will know today as Marquessy in AD 1252, where the Fanti nation was established. As sections of the people moved toward the coast and formed new settlements, they carried with them their history and captured it in their appellations. Elmina, which means the mines, derived from the Portuguese term the Costa de Elmina de Oro, meaning the coast of gold mines, also called Edna, was founded by Kwa Amankwa, a hunter who discovered a stream and settled there with his people. Elmina was originally called Anumansa, meaning inexhaustible water, and was located between the Benya Lagoon and the sea. It was eventually named after the Elmina Castle, which is also called São Jorge da Mina. Elmina was one of the main trading centers for the Europeans, specifically the Portuguese, who built the Elmina Castle in 1482. To know more about the appellation of Elmina, Edna Butriku, join me as we listen to the insightful educational time we had with Uncle Ebudazi, a native of Elmina.
Sculptors, Edina Butriku, Edina as the name, Bu meaning stone, Iku as society. Asankoma was a warrior who was a fugitive. Asankoma is the name, and the Katakrente is something that you cannot easily destroy. Now Butriku Asankoma Katakrente Abrichil Kakra. During the era of the Dutch, Elmina was transformed to more or less part of Europe, and that ends the name Abrichil Kakra. If you are afraid to come to Elmina, you won't come. But if you dare to come, you will never get back to your community. Slavery was at its peak, so you may be captured as a captive. The full name of appellation of Elmina is Edna Buche Gua Sankuma Katakrente Abrichi Kakra Iyuma Enko Ekosa Emba.
Anomabu. The origin of the name Anomabu, according to oral tradition, was first established when a hunter from the Nsuna clan discovered the area and decided to settle there with his family, eventually starting his own village. The hunter allegedly saw some white bears atop a rock and proclaimed the area Obonoma, meaning Bears Rock, which became the town's original name and slowly evolved into Anomabu. Anomabu has produced some very important personalities who have contributed their quota to national consciousness and development. Names worth mentioning in the fields of education and politics include but not limited to George Ferguson, who was the first cartographer of the gold also championed racial cooperation and harmony, best known for his metaphor that black and white kids must work together to create harmony. This vision was realized in the establishment of the Prince of Wales College, now at Motor School, in 1924. Mr. Philip Atayosin, a resident of Amabu and a tour guide for the Heroes Garden, which is located directly opposite Fort Williams in Amabu.
Amabu say a can Mabu Ziza on Amabu one in Sabrina Wakan Obunuma in Son Itzi. Krua was a canton consu, no was it a full baka, ma bawo in the main war, 1 year and a lambi. Say a car Obunuma. That is the original name of the town. Ikrona Kasano from Amabu, no from Obunuma. In Son Itzi, in France, there was other group there were cooks who formed 84 and in France for over to 84. Now on a cousin in France for the wood to me, wood to 84 now what in a crew was a canton cooks, no was a canton who said that on Tansi there, Obizi Canton was Bokuts. Nibia was the Katifu Azan and Shen or North Africa. Whilst on the battlefield on Tansi, it is only Amabu that accomplished that feat. Of course, when we are talking of baby Mawa, I want to be, until man and me, we share the production of children.
We are entering into the Cape Kusu, the capital city of the central region and former capital of Ghana. The city is one of the most historically significant settlements in Ghana, as it was once the capital of the Fete Kingdom and the capital of the Gold Coast. The traditional name of the city was Ogwa, which originates from the Fanti word Gwa, which means market. Another traditional name is Kotokraba, meaning crab hamlet, which is a corrupted version of the word Kotoraba, meaning crab riblets. The author, Elikot Nanakweko Otri, in his book, Ogwa Ahimfu, explained that what occasioned the Ogwa appellation, Ogwa Akoto, was that the Asantes repeated their indifference and this time were defeated by 30 Asafo members against their 1,000 in July 1826 in the Ashantis attempt to attack the heart of Ogwa. Join us as we interview Otiami Kweju Awodri Christian, a native of Cape Coast. Appellations are written in our history and stored in our memory. They are key elements in Ghanaian history which tell a story about the people. Through appellations, we turn memory, history, and heritage into enduring pillars.
Thank you very much. My apologies to particularly Fantipim School for the sound quality. Your work is very high quality in terms of the sound. The problem is not coming from you. It is coming from our end. Our media people have technical hitches. So our apologies, but otherwise this has very high sound quality. So you have watched performances, you have watched a documentary. These are 2 categories of the 5 categories of things that we invite submissions on. So we invite submissions on website development, which should be of a historical nature, which relates to the theme for the particular year, and then research papers, and then also exhibits, as you saw at the entrance. So going forward next year, when we issue our call again, all those of you gathered in here could submit inputs, whether in the form of website development, exhibits, historical research, or a performance or a documentary of the kind that we just watched. I'll hand over to my co-MC to run the events up.
So we are getting to the part that a lot of our students we know are eagerly waiting. But before we do the awards, we would like to do a short presentation. And for that presentation, I would like to humbly request the Pro-VC, Professor Esther Dansuredu, to join us to do us the honor of presenting to our esteemed guests, our keynote speaker, Mr. Edmond Munkala. So can you please join us, our keynote speaker, and also Mr. Carl Amper, Head of Culture, UNESCO. So our keynote speaker, thank you so much for the support that you've given the department and the university. So next, we'd like to invite Dr. Mrs. Latifa. She's also been of great help to us. So, she's not around. The HOD will present it to her in private. So now we move to the awards. As we've explained, there are 5 different aspects to the awards, and we have 2 categories, the senior high and the university. So I'll start with the senior high. Okay, so now we can do the presentation. Thank you very much for listening. So back to the awards. We are starting with the SHS category. We start first with historical web page. So can you please kindly project for us our winner? Sorry, not yet. So we first start with the first runner-up. I don't know if you have the link for that one. That is for Swedro SHS. And they worked on learning Ghana's history in school, why it matters for unity and development. And you agree with me that it fits very well within the main theme for Ghana National History Day. So can you come upstage here, students of Swedro Senior High? To do us the honors to present this award to the students, we invite Mr. Stephen Kamasa to help us with this. Swedro SHS, Learning Ghana's History in School, Why It Matters for Unity and Development. So these are our first runner-up, second position. So what are they receiving? They are receiving a couple of history books by Ghanaian and African authors, and then literature, books, African literature, as well as a cash prize of 700 cedis. So thank you very much. You have received your books certificate sponsored by UNESCO. Thank you once again. See you next year. So for our winner, we don't have third position. We only have second and first. So our winner, we have students of Winneba, SHS. I think you have the link to the web page. Can you please project it for us? They worked on stones of resistance, security, and memory in Winneba from the 17th century to the 19th centuries. So students of Winneba, kindly come up stage here to do us the honors to present the awards for them. We would like to invite our chair, Prof. Akram Pari. So these are our winners. They are receiving books and certificates sponsored by UNESCO, as well as a cash prize of 1,000 cedis. Congratulations. Thank you, our winners. Hope to see you next year. So we move to the next, which is historical documentary. And we watched one. So with the historical documentary, we do not have third and second position. We only have first position. And the first position, that's the winner, goes to Infant Sipim School. What you watched, their topic was on the appellations of Cape Coast, Elmina, Anumabo, Kwesi, Ampoma, and Piedu. So Infant Sipim, please come up stage. We would like to invite the Pro VC to do us this honors, Professor Esther. So they're also receiving for their first prize a couple of books, Ghanaian and African authors, authored books, and then certificates sponsored by UNESCO, and a cash prize of 1,000 cedis. Thank you. Congratulations once again. We move to the third aspect, which is the historical performance, and we witness about two of them from the SHS category. We will start with the first runner-up, that is the second position, and this goes to Gomoa SHS. Their performance was entitled "The Chain of Gold, the Transatlantic Slave Trade in Ghana." Gomoa SHS, kindly come up stage and receive your prize. So you're also receiving books, history books with African authorship sponsored by UNESCO, and a cash prize of 700 cedis. We call the head of department to do us the honors of presenting. Thank you. Congratulations, Gomoa. So now we have for the winner for the historical performance SHS category, Bremaya Sikuma. The topic was on a walk through the indigenous a walk through the indigenous shield, the Asafo and pre-colonial justice. Kindly come up stage and receive your prize of history books and a cash prize of 1,000 cedis. So I'd like to invite the former HOD, Mr. Eric Nketia, to do us the honors of presenting the awards. This. Congratulations, Bremaya Sikuma. And this brings us to the end of the award winners for the SHS category. But we would like to acknowledge and award books to some participants from Zion Girls Senior High. So, Zion Girls Senior High, please do us the honors of coming here to receive your donation for participation. So you have African authored history books as well. I'd like to invite my co-MC, Professor Kwesi Kwati Amwaku Jampa. Thank you very, very much. So now we get to the university category awards. And we will start with the documentary, historical documentary. There is no third position, but we do have second and first. So we start with the second position. And we have students that worked on the Jamestown Lighthouse from pre-colonial to Ghana's icon. So if you are part of this group, kindly start coming here. You know yourselves, right? Justice Jampo, William Asante Berko, Emmanuel Kujo, Erica Ayele Tieku, Michael Owusuenim, and Bismarck. So we call on Dr. Frank Afari to do us the honors of awarding our winners for the first runner-up position. So you have books, a cash prize of 700 cedis for your hard work. Congratulations. So the winner for the documentary, the university. So we have the group that worked on our water, our history. Oh, there is. What did we do different? Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. sorry, so I will be doing a sankofa here, going back. We do have a third position, which is supposed to be the second runner-up. So what you just witnessed is the first position, that is the second. Right, so now we're going back to the third position. And for those for the third or second runner-up, we have the group that worked on reconnecting Africa's diaspora, the role of Asen Mansu's slave river. So kindly come forward, Priscilla, Bright, Mensa Nelson, Frempong Ekwamwa, Irene Dede Adiko, Alele Mubarak, Azuma. So these are our second runner-up, the third position. So kindly come forward and receive your award. So I'd like to call to do us the honors, Professor Lucy, to award our winners for this. So for the third position, or the second runner-up, we have also history books, and then a cash prize of 500 cedis. Thank you. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Having already done the first runner-up, which is the second position, now we move to the winner. And the winner for the historical documentary is the group that worked on Our Water, Our History, the story of the Muni Lagoon. So kindly come up stage, Esther, Yabua, Florence, Epia, Nile, Enoch, Amponsa, Philemon, Asamoah, and Shadrach. So I would like to humbly request Professor Isaac Shen to help us with this award. Professor Isaac Shen, kindly do us the honor for the winner for the university category performance. So they are receiving a cash prize of 1,000 cedis, historical books authored by Africanist historians, and then there is a placard. So they get a placard as well. So the SHS category, there is also a placard in your books for the first position. So congratulations, guys. Thank you and congratulations to our winners. So now we move on to the other aspects, which is the historical paper. And this is usually done by an individual. That's the only one among the projects that is solely for an individual, so not a group work. And we have second runner-up and third and first runner-up for this. So I'll start with the second runner-up. So I invite Mr. Samuel Essel, who wrote on the origin and celebration of Ahoba Festival by Gomua Takwa. So Samuel, kindly join us upstage. So I humbly invite Mr. Kalampa to do us the honors of presenting the award to our winner. Someone received a cash prize of 500 and history authored books, Africanist authors, and certificates. The books and certificates sponsored by UNESCO. Congratulations, Samuel. We get to the first runner-up, so that's the second position. I invite Mr. Emmanuel Boate, who worked on the essay, The Political and Social Construction Contributions of Kingate to the National Unity and Development in the Gold Coast. So kindly come up stage here, Emmanuel, and receive your prize of books and cash. Humbly invite Ms. Justina Canso, the coordinator for History Day, to help us. So, Emmanuel receives a cash prize of 700 cedis and books and certificates sponsored by UNESCO. Thank you. The next is the historical exhibit. You witnessed several exhibitions at the entrance, and we have for this year 2 winners. We have the first runner-up and the winner. And so I'll call the first runner-up. This is a group project, and I invite the group that worked on from Gong to public address system. Oh, yeah, how do I keep? Sorry, hold on. I don't know why I keep skipping the second runner-up, but I'm going back once again. So the second runner-up, which is the third position, we have the group that worked on the making of Mankesim, the cultural and spiritual significance of the Pusubai. So kindly come forward, Francesca, Ampoma, Gad, Antubam, Adam, Angus, and Stephen. Congratulations to you guys. Come up stage and receive your awards. So now we invite Professor Shelley Dankwa to do us the honors of presenting the awards to our winners. A cash prize of 500 cedis, books, and certificates sponsored by UNESCO. Congratulations, guys. So now we get to the first runner-up, the second position. And we have the group that worked on from Gong to public address system, historicizing communication system in Aguna Kwamai. And the members are Patience Hager, Luke Awinbe Azongi, Samuel Ayam Abila, Deborah Francis, and Frederick Intiamwa. Kindly come forward and receive your prize. They are taking a cash prize of 700 cedis, books, history books with Africanist authors and certificates. The books and the certificates are sponsored by UNESCO. We invite once again Professor Lucy Efiatom to do us the honors. Sanita. Congratulations and thank you very much. So now we we get to the winner for the historical exhibits, the university category. And we have the group that worked on hidden but unbroken, Yes and West time at Sresu Timpong. And the group members are Elvis, Evans, Rashida, Joshua, and Rebecca. Kindly come forward and receive your prize. We would like to kindly invite the keynote speaker to do us the honors, Mr. Edmond. So kindly come forward to receive your cash prize of 1,000 cedis, history books with Ghanaian African authors, and literature books as well, and a certificate sponsored by UNESCO. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. The winner gets a plaque, as you saw them with their plaque. Now we get to the last of the projects, and that's the historical performance. For that, we only have a winner, so there's no second and third position. So then I would invite the winners for the historical performance, and that is the group that worked on the lands of our ancestors, the formation and struggle of the Aborigines Right Protection Society, which we witnessed during this occasion. And these are Alice Anochi, Janice Della Agbeti, Elizabeth Beidou. So kindly come forward, and we invite the head of department to do us the honors of giving this award to our winners. So Alice, Janice, Elizabeth, Benedicta, Francisca, Bernice, Jennifer, Bismarck, Osman, Iwezu, Mohammed, and Philip. So you are all invited upstage to receive your prize. You have a cash prize of 1,000 cedis. And then you have history books with Africanist authors, certificates. The books and the certificates sponsored by UNESCO. So congratulations to our winners. The head of department would present you with that. And you have a placard as well. Congratulations, Osman and Co. Thank you very much. So we've come to the end of the awards, and we are moving on, almost coming to a close. So before we come to a close, we would like to invite our chair to give us the closing remarks. Professor Akram Pari.
Okay, this has been a very informative, inspiring, and a great teaching moment for all of us. And on behalf of the organizers and the university, I thank the various speakers, especially the guest speaker, for his thought-provoking, insightful, and inspiring speech. I also thank the students who role-played history and then the documentaries. I think they show that if we move away from the pedagogy of the oppressed, we can learn a lot on our own and make teaching more interactive than otherwise. As a chairperson, I would like to do two things in my closing remarks. I would like to reflect on the guest speaker's address and then provide a bullet point summary of what we have learned today, or what we have heard today. Honorable Mr. Mukaile's address entitled Restitution Narratives, an Unfinished Business. Indeed, an unfinished business, because we are on a journey of recovery and a journey of renewal. And therefore, the business of studying Africa, the business of using heritage, history, is not done yet. It's an ongoing process that we have to continue. And I must say that his address compellingly aligns closely with the theme of Ghana History Day, which is Memory, Heritage for National Unity and Development. At the core of the speech advances the argument that memory is not a passive recollection, but rather an ethical obligation. And by tracing the intellectual and diplomatic journey from historical denial to European culpability, in particular regarding slavery and colonialism and their enduring consequences, he situates history in a terrain of accountability and repair rather than nostalgia. But as we ask for reparations, we should also be asking questions about how to repair ourselves so that we don't repeat the historical parallelism. That is what our ancestors did in the past and which now calls for restitution and reparations. The emphasis on education, archival preservation, and institutional courage underscores the link between historical consciousness and social transformation. In the Ghanaian context, Honorable Mr. Mukaile's address challenges us to see heritage not merely as patrimony or a legacy to be displayed, but as civic infrastructure that sustains dignity, identity, inclusion, and nation building. By invoking initiatives such as the General History of Africa and anti-racism frameworks, Honorable Mukaile's address reminds us that national unity is strengthened, not threatened, when we confront the past with intellectual honesty and monastic zeal. Thus, the speech becomes a point of departure for Ghana National History Day as an invitation to mobilize memory as a resource for reconciliation, to deploy history as a tool of justice, and to harness heritage as a foundation for sustainable nation building. Undoubtedly, Africa and her children have suffered greatly in the course of history. Nevertheless, our history is not merely about recollecting suffering. It is equally about revitalizing our resolve to see the world as it is, a world structured in inequality and competition. In such a world, Africa's prospects for overcoming both historical and contemporary problems depend on our willingness to accept memory as a durable resource. In other words, we must cultivate ideas that enable us to integrate blame culture as well as reform culture in order to foster justice within the continent, across the African diaspora, and the rest of the world. Now, I would want to summarize all the speeches that we have heard, as I said, in an 8-point bullet. So the first one is to promote inclusive public education at all levels, develop moral conscience and sovereign dignity as a means of renewal and doing things right based on ideals of the past and the realities of the present. 2, to stimulate Pan-African agenda, good citizenship and nation building to be obtained from time-honored heritage and history. And 3, help Ghanaians to work together to end neocolonialism and dependency, some of which we saw in the play acting and then the documentaries. And 4, to shatter the idea of African inferiority, the result of slavery, colonialism, and neocolonialism, and then globalization, which is unidirectional or one way. We talk about globalization in the sense of living in a global village, but what is reality, the truth, is that most of what we learn come from the north, that is the industrialized world or from the Western world, but not from Africa. And so there is no complementarity in the sharing. And then 5th, to debunk and shatter or erase the static notions of Afro-pessimism. That is the idea that Africa will never develop and that Africans have become orphans in a state of dependency. And then 6, empower Ghanaians and Africans with counter-hegemonic philosophies such as Ghana National History Day, Emancipation Day, and African Heritage Day. I think what I would add is that the days are becoming one too many. I think we should begin to have months and then years in which these type of programs are nurtured and then disseminated. 7th, help Ghanaians to restore our own voices to history. That is to tell our own stories rather than allowing foreigners to tell our stories spiced with bias and racism and so on and so forth. And then the last point is to use indigenous knowledge and tested philosophies of the past for nation building. From what we have done here or heard here today, memory, history, and heritage are not events, but processes of continuity and change that involve all, especially the younger generations. Let us package memory with history and heritage for nation building. Let us not dismiss our history and heritage while borrowing foreign ones. Let us patronize memory as a resource for restitution, renewal, and rebirth of Ghana and Africa, and let us do so through a prism or a worldview that balances reflection with responsibility and remembrance with resilience. On behalf of the Department of Education, University of Education, Winneba, and our guests and everyone, I stand here to thank everyone for their participation and for coming. But I think what is important is that once we walk out of the gate, we should put some of these ideas in our memory banks and then implement them for the benefit of Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof, very much for your detailed summary of today's event. We would be giving a vote of thanks shortly, but before then, I would like to give brief announcements to our students. So, Ashes Body, as part of your week celebration, you are having your debate on Friday. So note, on Friday, not on Thursday. Friday, 2 p.m. at the Lecture Theatre 1. Note that. See you all. I'll be there, so I hope to see you all there. I'll now call Ms. Justina Council to give us the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. I respectfully acknowledge all dignitaries present. And on behalf of the Department of History Education, I have the singular honor to express our profound gratitude. First of all, I want to extend our gratitude to our esteemed keynote speaker, Mr. Edmond Mukala. We also want to thank our special guest, the Director for Culture from UNESCO. For our esteemed keynote speaker, please know that your insightful presentation has provided us with knowledge that is going to stay with us for years to come. We also acknowledge the representatives from UNESCO and say that your contributions and support through your presence, the donations you have made, affirms the importance of history education and also cultural heritage in Ghana, and we are truly honored for all that you have done for us. We also wish to express our gratitude to representatives from the Ghana Education Service who have joined us today. We appreciate our Vice Chancellor and the Pro-Vice Chancellor, as well as the Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences Education, who have provided the leadership and encouragement to ensure that the program becomes a reality. To our chairman, we acknowledge the wisdom and the grace with which you have guided this program to its end. We acknowledge all specially invited guests, and we are grateful for your time and presence. We cannot forget the lecturers of the Department of History Education and lecturers from the wider university community. We thank you for your support in the form of cash and your presence. We also thank our senior administrative assistant for all the hard work that he put into organizing this program. Special thanks to the UEW media team for their dedication in ensuring that today's event is well covered and shared with the wider community. We also appreciate the contributions of our national service persons and MPhil students for participating in the program. We are delighted by your engagements and your support through various forms. We appreciate the teachers and students from senior high schools and the basic schools who are here with us today. Thank you for participating. We are delighted by your engagement and the products that you presented for the competition. Please know that your presence enriches the program, and you are also the future of historical research in Ghana and beyond. Finally, we appreciate the students of the University of Education, Winneba, especially our history students. Are they here? Ashes? 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 Thank you for coming. You make this program very vibrant. We thank you for the support in the form of participation, donations that you made to the department. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are humbled by your support and presence, and I must say that history is going to guide us all into a better future. Thank you all, and God bless us all.
All too soon, our program has come to an end, and as we started, so are we ending. So I call upon Ms. Stephanie Owusu to give us the closing prayer.
Please shall we bow down our heads in prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for how far you've brought us. In your name we began, and in your name do we end. We say glory, honor, and adoration be unto your holy name. Father, we pray for traveling mercies for our dignitaries and for the various schools that are represented here. We pray that may you take us back home safely, that a year by this time we will be here to celebrate Ghana National History Day 2027. We thank you, and this and many more we ask through your Son, Jesus Christ. We've prayed with thanksgiving. Amen.
Thank you. So we wish you traveling mercies back to your destination. We would gather here with our guests to take a picture, and after that, if you want to come and use the stage for your own pictures, you can do that. All right.